So legislative theater as a methodology comes out of Brazil originally. As we know, lots of participatory democracy comes out of Brazil originally, including participatory budgeting. And it's part of the tools of theater of the oppressed that were created in or sort of cultivated in Rio by Augusto Boal, and started really practicing legislative theater in 1990. But then there's been a bit of a gap really in implementation, although it's slowly been practiced in other places around the world. And it's been growing quite a bit now, I think, in the UK as well as in other countries. And the idea basically is that it starts with people who are directly impacted by the problem. So they are the conveners of the process, people who are impacted by whatever problem it is that we're trying to address, and sort of designers of a participatory process. And it starts with creating a play that is articulating the problems that people are facing, and in specific, in relation to policy and practice. So unjust policy or ineffective or out of date or just missing, things that are missing, right? Opportunities that have not been filled because there's a gap between human experience and public policy and practice. So that's where legislative theater is trying to bridge that gap. And in the process, part of the process is about that group coming together, using games and exercises and tools to tell stories, find shared experiences, and build a play that articulates as best it can the human impact of the problem and also the various layers of bureaucracy or institutions around a problem, and then brings that play to an audience of stakeholders, other people directly impacted by the problem, people who help make decisions about the problem, policymakers, advocates, a really diverse audience, but an audience that all has skin in the game and is working on the issue from various perspectives. And then there's another sort of unique part of this process, unique to legislative theater, is that there's a chance to test new policies and practices through improvisation. So the actors, right, and in this process, actors are all residents, citizens or residents, people who are directly impacted by the problem, are prepared to improvise with audience members to test new ideas. And this builds solidarity around the impact of the problem, right, the feeling of the problem, but it also gets people thinking a little bit outside the box to come up with potentially more innovative and responsive, maybe more radical ideas. But really, we're looking for responsive, and we're looking for a chance to trial them, not just talk about them, right? And the idea that in trialing them, we see what might not work, what still needs to be improved, what might, come up against a barrier, and so that you can continue to improvise and test ideas and get ever closer to what would really address the problem as best as we can.